But he made some good movies.
We said theoretically.
Yeah. He had some good hits. He did have
the conversation was
fantastic.
Yeah. Shakespeare in Love.
I'm not.
I mean,
I had a great point. You're never going to hear it. That point's gone.
Welcome back to another video, guys. I hope you're doing well. Special shout out to all you leg slappers out there. Today I'm going to take you through Dave Portnoy's recent exploits. Some of you may already know that he recently bought back Barstool Sports for $1 after selling it for over $500 million, which is just insane. But even more recently, he was caught up in a bit of a scandal over his One Bite Pizza Festival, where the Washington Post tried to pull a hit piece on him and basically tried to cancel him. But it ended up massively backfiring on them, and they're still refusing to take the L. So I'm going to take you through the ins and outs of the whole situation and fill in a few gaps about his Barstool deal as well. And as usual, we'll have a laugh along the way. After all, this channel is all about the cringe.
What happened? What do you think happened?
That's what prompted something. That's what prompted it.
But the way he said it is crazy. Something happened. I don't know. Something happened.
That's what prompted
some weird shit over there. We got to get to the bottom of that.
For the sake of clarity, the way this went down is they did the interview together. It went crazy viral.
we know.
Do you, little man? The way it happened.
Get in the seat. Get in the seat right now. Get him on it.
The concert,
Man, the cringe is thick in that one. Shout out to any of you who watch Flagrant unironically. So before I get into the crazy Barstool deal, I want to take a look at this Washington Post scandal. Basically, Dave was putting on this massive pizza festival where all the top-rated pizza shops from his One Bite Pizza reviews got together in a massive stadium, and it was set up so that each shop had like a mini pizza shop set up, mini ovens and all that sort of stuff. Sounds pretty cool, right?
And then probably like a week and a half, it started this dude, Kenji Alt Lopez, who I'd never heard of, celebrity chef.
Okay.
Like $1 million YouTube channel, 600 Instagram. And he started publicly tagging the pizza places and being like, how the can you support Dave Portnoy and all the hit pieces that have been written, quoting them, including like, I'm a union buster, all this stuff, and just going crazy. He was also friends with the Washington Post.
And so the Washington Post decided to start writing a hit piece on Dave. They sent out these emails to all of his sponsors, trying to basically intimidate them into turning on him and drop their sponsorship deals. And they left their contact details with the sponsors so they could get back to them. But instead, a few of those sponsors contacted Dave and told him what was going on. And so you probably guessed it, Dave decided to call up the journalist himself. Oh, and he recorded it for all of us to listen to.
Hey, Emily, this is Dave Portnoy calling. I'm recording you right now, but I've noticed a bunch of people. It seems like you're sending, we have this Pizzafest happening on Saturday, and you're reaching out to our advertisers, and you're basically sending an email that says, to the effect, Dave's a misogynist, racist. Do you want to defend yourselves advertising at this event, right?
I'm sorry, what's your name, Dave? I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm the guy you're writing the article about, Dave Portnoy.
Oh, you're Dave Portnoy. Oh, hey, how are you?
Good.
And so at first she tries to play dumb and can't remember what she wrote in those emails, but luckily Dave started reading them to her.
We are planning to write about the festival and how some of the sponsors and participants have drawn criticism by seemingly to associate themselves with Dave Portnoy, who has a history of misogynic comments and other problematic behavior. I want to make sure that Blank had a chance to respond to this, since the company is the most prominent of their partners of his festival.
Oh, that's the one I sent to, which was definitely the most pointed of them, because I really did want them to respond, and I was hoping to get something from them.
Do you think that's fair? Like, I totally disagree with the assertions of what you said, that misogynic and all that stuff. So, like, it kind of backs people into a corner. So I'm happy to go over anything. I mean, you have... That is pretty pointed. You said you didn't do it. Then I have the exact evidence of you doing it. So
no, I didn't say I didn't do that. I said I did. That was the one that was the most pointed.
Well, no, before I provided proof, you said you didn't really remember doing that. And then I read it to you and you're like, oh yeah, I did it that one time. So you did do it.
Just in case you're wondering, Dave keeps saying misogynic, which isn't actually a word. I think he's meaning to say misogynistic. But anyway, this is pretty crazy. I completely understand where Dave's coming from here. They made no attempt to contact him. Instead, they were going after his advertisers, trying to scare them off and effectively trying to cancel him. And the worst part is her explanation for why she was doing it.
But that seems like a pretty straightforward question. That, have you made your mind up about me? If you can't answer that, no.
I can say I have not made my mind up about you.
Then why would you include that in the email to sponsors?
Because I was hoping for a dialogue with them. You know, it's sometimes you have to say something like, this is like, you know, it's sort of a reporting tactic. When you want someone to respond, you kind of have to indicate that there might be something negative, and then you get them to engage. That's all I was trying to do. I really wanted them to engage with me.
That is a sad state of journalism if that's a tactic that you have to, what I would say is make up something about somebody.
That there might be something negative, and so you want to give people a chance to respond and have a conversation with you. That's what I was trying to do.
But at the same time, you're saying you don't know that that's actually truth. So you're leading with something that you haven't done enough research to know if it's valid.
I'm saying there might be a fuller picture, and that's what I want to talk to you about. And I want to set up a time tomorrow morning, maybe like 10. Are you free at 10?
So basically, these journalists throw mud in the hope that it'll get people to respond to them, because if they just said, hey, we were wondering if you wanted to comment about the festival that Dave Portnoy's putting on that you're involved in, they'd probably just ignore it. She openly admitted, knowing she was being recorded, that she was just fishing for a story so she could get some juice out of his sponsors. And then at the end there, you probably heard her trying to book in a call with him for the next day at 10 a.m. This is where it gets even better. They book in the call for 10 o'clock, but then after they get off the phone, she tries to push the meeting back to 5 p.m., which was close to the deadline for her story. Again, another dodgy journalistic strategy to avoid scrutiny. To which Dave said, yeah, nah, not interested. The article's basically already done at that point, and so the Washington Post tries to spin it off as if he didn't want to talk to them at all, leaving out the part where they cancelled the 10 a.m. call and tried to push it back to 5 o'clock. So then when they posted the article on Twitter, Community Notes were straight onto it and slammed them with the truth. It says, a phone call between Emily Hale and David Portnoy was shared prior to publication, in which the WAPO journalist admits to intentionally misleading advertisers into speaking negatively of the One Bite Pizza Festival. They agreed to an interview the next day, but WAPO cancelled. You seriously could not make this up. They were caught red-handed and then they leaned into it. Jeez, imagine the arrogance.
No
Dictate how
PR
they
team
handle.
would tell their client to call the person that's writing a hit piece about them and record it and put it out. Because that's not how they think. They're risk averse. They're, how do we calm this down? Let's distract, kill a story with a story or something like that. But the reality is that when somebody's out for blood for you, as human beings, I think we enjoy seeing the person get vengeance.
Right.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Schulz there. Dave Portnoy is a controversial figure. He's said a lot of stupid, wacky stuff over the years, but when the Washington Post tries to pull a fast one over him like that, it's hard not to get behind him. They should have just taken the L and at least had the call with him at 10 a.m., but instead they pretended like they needed more time to do background on him before that call, when the reality was they tried to throw mud, but it didn't stick, so they tried to bail out at the last minute, and then pretended like nothing happened. So that's the Washington Post saga. Moving into the Barstool Sports buyback for $1, Portnoy sold it to Penn Entertainment for $551 million in a two-part sale that only just closed in February this year. And Penn tried to add on a sports book to Barstool, but because of Dave and all the wacky stuff he says, they had issues with licensing and regulations, so Penn made a deal with ESPN to take over their sports betting and then offered Dave to buy Barstool back for $1, which he accepted, and now he retains 100% ownership.
My company would have been in big trouble. I think a lot of people have gotten laid off, fired. I have morons who work for me. What the are they going to do? They're going to go bag groceries? They've been living this life. So I was at a crossroads to, I guess, what you're saying. Because I could have made a ton of money, gone on my way. I would have left Barstool, I think, in a very vulnerable, bad spot. I didn't want to do that. I would have never, if I thought they were solid and it would have continued, then maybe I would have f***ed off. But I knew it needed me to be back to make sure the company was secure, the community was secure, all that. So yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as simple as that. Barstool is basically a loss-making business at the moment. Penn was just filling in the gaps every month to the tune of around $1 million. So as it stands now, Barstool is basically losing $12 million a year, and that's why Penn agreed to hand it off to Dave for $1. I mean, for a company that's been around for so long, why would anyone pay good money for it if it's losing so much money? It's not like it's a startup or anything like that.
And they're incentivized because if he sells it back, they get 50%. So if they got the right guy in charge.
If you sell it again.
If he sells it again.
So
yeah.
Okay, so you're going in, you come into the business, and that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. They just hear, bought it back for $1, and then they go, well, this thing's printing money, and he buys it back for $1. They don't realize you're buying back, losing $1 million a month
just
for
about.
$1.
Right.
So you're spending $12 million a year to buy it back.
Correct. Pretty much.
I think that's something that's not reported enough.
Right.
Yeah, so Dave's really got to turn that place around now that he owns it again. Sure, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars personally, but I doubt he's just going to chill and just keep covering those losses out of his own pocket. That's why he made all those layoffs that everyone was going on about. The thing is, he laid off mostly people who were hired after he sold it, so his original crew, like all those content creators, they're still there. It sounds like he laid off people from the business department. He's kind of like a mini Elon Musk in a way, except he makes up words like misogenic and probably couldn't engineer himself out of a wet paper bag. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment below and I'll pin the best one. Hit the like button and become a subscriber so you get my uploads in your feed. I'll chat to you guys in the next one.
Do you, little man? The way